You are listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network.
يلي من هناك لشوارزنيجر
Va a pegarle Ronaldinho Gaucho. Ya lo hace. Pierna derecha, directo al arco. ¡Golazo! ¡Golazo!
This is Soccer Today, live on SPN Radio, your new live show about the beautiful game in all its glory, with Duane, Rollins and Kevin Laramee. MLS, EPL, La Liga, Champions League, all is fair game. Powered by the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us at sportspodcastingnetwork.com.
I'd like to start the show by thanking Grant for all that he gives us on this. Well, it's actually really cruddy, a rainy Friday. But nonetheless, thank you, Grant. How you doing, Kevin?
Overwhelmed by news, media over the last 48 hours, especially in the world of soccer. It's kind of it is a crazy season, but a recent event made it the last 24 hours very, very weird.
It's been a bad day if you are an affiliated Canadian MLS, a player affiliated with a Canadian MLS team this week. And I don't want to make light of this. There was a pretty serious allegation out of Vancouver yesterday. Two academy players were arrested for sexual assault. So we don't know what that's about, but we don't like that. And we mention and we move on. Obviously, the Larin stuff continues. We're going to talk a little bit more, update that in the second block today, Kevin. But before we get into that, let's turn our attention to some more weird news, legally inclined, about Cristiano Ronaldo out of Madrid.
Apparently, Duane, Ronaldo pulled the Messi and has some accounts offshore and trying to evade fiscal duties over the last alleged 2012-2014 period, which would be an amazing amount of money. And so that's been talked about now. It's been out, and we'll see the ramifications of it. Will we see arrested? Because we never saw Messi get arrested.
No, well, I mean, okay, look, my understanding from the Messi situation is that the Spanish law is really quite liberal in the sense that it takes a lot to get put in jail or whatever. Like, so there's no chance of that. If he is convicted of this, like Messi was, that he basically would be sort of it's a slap on the wrist, quite literally. And if it happens again, then they get into more problems. But you have to pay the money. That's the other part of it. So what we're hearing out of the Ronaldo camp is that he wants to leave now. Which leads a lot of speculation. And he said it's irreversible. That's the term that keeps coming out. This has been reported both in kind of the tabloid press and sort of the soccer press out of Spain. So this is pretty significant, obviously, on the eve of the Confederations Cup. We're going to talk about that in the second block as well, the Confed Cup. We'll have some coverage of that pretty consistently next week. I've lined up a guest to be an expert for us at any rate. This is stuff that I'm having trouble processing right now, to be quite honest with you. I cannot envision a scenario in which he's not in Madrid, but the noise seems to suggest that maybe he might not be, Kevin.
Yeah, and it could be a decision taken with anger. Like, you get busted, or you didn't even know of that. Maybe it's your accountant that pulled off something like a scheme or trying to hide numbers, and you're not even aware of it. That's a probability. That's a possibility. So he's angry, like, you know what? F this. I want to get out of here. That's a probable state of mind. Is it going to stay? But he took an irreversible decision. It's almost like a buzzword being used by the different outlets that are talking about this, which would lead to probably one source that said that word, and it gets broadcasted and used at all the places. So we'll see if there's any substance to that. But if you add 1 and 1 and equals 2, sometimes maybe there will be a world without Ronaldo in Spain, and maybe he will be playing for another team. Who knows? Maybe he's going to go back to Manchester. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that obviously is going to be the rumor that most people are going to latch onto because of the English press and his history with Manchester United. The other team that has been sort of suggested to be in the picture for him is PSG. Really, when you think about it, there's only, I think, probably 4 clubs in the world that could afford Cristiano Ronaldo, the 2 Manchesters and Barcelona. And he's obviously not going to go to Barcelona. And because of his history with United, he's not going to go to City. So and the PSG is the other 14, by the way.
Oh, he's not coming to MLS? Really, come on. He's not coming to MLS?
Not anytime soon, I don't think. Although I'm sure someone will put that out there. He's going to play for the Galaxy, obviously.
He's been linked with LA.
Yeah, because that's the only team. When people talk outside of North America, when you talk about being linked to MLS, really you're talking about the Galaxy.
Duane, so there you go. According to sources, Cristiano Ronaldo has been linked to LA. So yeah, there you go.
There you go. Christ, whatever. He would do pretty well in MLS, I'd have to say. So there you go. I don't know where to go with that one, but at any rate, no. I said on Twitter today that I would bracket insert embarrassing thing here if, in fact, he's not in Madrid in August, because I really don't think that he is going to leave. Now, that said, I have some empathy for him here when I look at this. Basically, what this is about is image rights. The Spanish government is suggesting that he's hiding money that he's made from his image. And I kind of have, even though I'm sort of a liberal guy and a guy that, believes that the rich should be taxed fairly, I do have a bit of an issue with image rights and stuff like that, because I think that you as yourself should be yourself, you know what I mean? And that really, does the government deserve money there? I don't know. That's where I do get a little bit neocon when it comes to that. But
they deserve money from you just being you while you're being photographed.
Yeah, I don't necessarily buy into that one quite the same way as maybe others will. So I don't know. Let me ask you, Kevin. Do you think that this is just smoke and mirrors right now, or can you see a world next August, September when Cristiano Ronaldo is not at Real Madrid?
It's leverage. Trust me. If Ronaldo says, I want to leave now, and it's because of Spain, not because of Madrid, Madrid's going to go behind the scenes and knock on the government's door and be like, guys, how about you give Ronaldo a little bit of slack so he stays playing with us so we bring you more trophies? How about that?
Yeah. Look, it's an interesting sort of situation here. And look, I get, like I said, I have some empathy with him because of this. And the Messi stuff seemed a little bit different, to be honest with you, but this does seem quite like, it almost seems like a cash grab, for lack of a better way to put it, by the Spanish government, which is pretty poor. I don't know if people understand Spain's financial situation, but they aren't exactly rolling in the dough right now. They're quite a bit in debt, and the economy kind of struggling there and has for about a decade now. So this might be something to do with that. But we'll continue to watch this, obviously. But this is getting a lot of lips flapping today. It would certainly, let's just speculate for a half second here. If he were to leave Madrid, would that sort of even things out? Would that bring them back into to the rest of the world, make them less of a favorite to win the Champions League next year? I think probably.
Yeah, for sure. It's like talking about the best player in the world with your team. I still, just saying this, I don't think it's going to happen. I cannot envision Ronaldo playing anywhere else. But maybe that's just me right now. I don't know. It just... He's the type of player that will change your team 100%. You bring him in, and it's almost a guaranteed 30 goals in the league. So you can't frown on that.
Yeah, exactly. And just for the record, MLS fans listening out there, no, he's not in his MLS years quite yet. All right. The other story, the sort of transfer stuff out there that I wanted to talk about briefly is the AC Milan, the young keeper, 18-year-old Donnarumma. Gianluca Donnarumma, he has said to AC Milan that he's not going to come back. This is an 18-year-old kid. He's pulled this stunt before. He was under sort of great looking. Inter Milan was looking at him greatly, had a contract on the table, and he apparently, according to reports, just backed away from that contract at the last second to chase a little bit more money, a little bit something better in his mind at AC Milan across the city. And now he's doing the same thing to Milan. So look, I'm not going to pretend to be a big expert on this player right now. He's an 18-year-old keeper. So that tells you that if you're 18 and you're starting and you're getting this much attention as a keeper at 18, then obviously there's a great level of talent there. But he's still only 18. He still has a lot of growth. And it seems really short-sighted to me that this kid, and he's a kid, is ready to walk away from the club of the stature of AC Milan, even though they are a little bit down right now, to do what? To sit on the bench where? Because if you're 18 and you're going to one of these big clubs in the world, which has to be where you're going. If you're going to leave AC Milan, you're not going to leave Milan to go to San Jose Earthquakes, you're going to one of the big clubs, you're probably going to sit on the bench. Real Madrid's been linked to him. Navas is probably better than him and probably has more trust of the defense behind him, in front of him, and everything else. So I just can't see this. It seems like a really short-sighted idea from this young kid. As I said on Twitter today, he seems like he might be Mario Balotelliing. That's a word, Mario Balotelliing. It should be. He seems to be doing that to his career. People sort of fought back on that, Italian people for the most part, saying that maybe it wasn't quite an apt comparison because Mario had different kinds of issues. But to me, I look at this kid, and I look at Mario when he was doing all the stupid stuff, and he was only 19, and I see young talent, immense young talent that is sort of not necessarily thinking with their head. They're thinking with their wallet, and that's not necessarily the best for your career.
And I guess that's the theme of the show today, Duane. Young athletes not thinking with their head. Anyways, it seems to me Gianluigi Donnarumma is either a very shrewd businessman or he has one working for him, because that's what looks to be the case. If he wants to leave on a free transfer, basically becoming a free agent, something we don't usually see a lot in the world of soccer, where it's not going to be the transfer here that's going to be the speculation and growing and being overpriced. It's going to be his salary, and it's something we don't see often in the world of soccer, a free agent of this sort, if he does, quote-unquote, pull it off.
Yeah, look, there's some suggestion, there's anger. Like, AC Milan's a proud club with a lot of proud alumni, and there's already rumblings that they want to just bench him for the year. Like, screw you, if you want to do this to us, we're not going to play you for a year, which is going to hurt this kid's development. This is just, I don't know. Obviously, as someone who just stated a few minutes ago that I'm pro-labor, I'm left-wing that way, I obviously think that players should, leverage what they can get to go where they want. But you got to think about your career too. And if you've got a starting gig at a club like AC Milan, and I know that they're not where they were a decade ago, but they are improving, they are getting better. They do seem to be like they're ready to make that move to get back to where they once were. If you are starting for a club like that, why would you move on at that age? You're going to have a whole career. You could play 2-3 more years there, sign one more contract. You're only 18, for God's sakes. And at 22, you could go to Real Madrid or Barcelona or PSG or wherever. And the interest will probably be there. In fact, you'll probably get more money and get more opportunity if that's the case. Because I think if you move right now, you're running the risk of really derailing your career. Because let's just say for the sake of argument, that because of what you're doing right now, Milan does sit you down for the year because they're like, and there's logic to that beyond pettiness. Because if you know he's not going to be a keeper the year after, then why would you want to develop that kind of chemistry that's really needed between a backline and a keeper over the course of the next season? If you know the guy's going to move on, you might as well just bring in your new guy right away and say, well, whatever, you can practice with our reserves if you want. You might as well. It makes a lot of sense. So I think this is really sort of a short-sighted move by him, or as others are suggesting, maybe his agent is driving this. And there's a lot of agents out there driving things because they get a cut of the transfer, and it might not be in the best interest of the player.
Hey,
Kevin.
and if he gets a cut of a big salary, that's talking about a lot of money here.
Yeah, exactly. And look, maybe the he's still current, but the Manchester City player I should have compared him with should have been Yaya Toure rather than Mario Balotelli because of the agent situation involved in that. Holy, lots of stuff to do here. We sort of talked last week, Kevin, whether we would talk about transfer rumors or not, and I think I've sort of decided that I'm not going to, but we are going to, I think, moving forward, sort of dedicate one day a week where we're going to be a little bit more European focused, where we talk about the major issues that are happening over there. And as I said a few minutes ago, our Confederation Cup coverage will start in earnest next week. I'm going to book someone on probably for 3 interviews next week where we'll just break down the tournament. We won't do it every day, I think, like that. I think we'll do, as I said, 3 interviews next week where we focus on it. I will be watching all the games. And after this quick break, Kevin and I will talk a little bit about what we hope to see from that tournament.
You are listening to Soccer Today, live on SPN Radio. Visit sportspodcastingnetwork.com for more.
I never know what to think about this tournament, Kevin. I never do, because it seems so pointless in some ways. I do get the idea of giving the host nation of the World Cup this tournament to sort of get used to it, but it also always seems kind of like an afterthought in terms of what happens out there.
No, yeah, for sure. But I'm always like, it's a dress rehearsal. It's called the dress rehearsal for the World Cup. We all know Russia's getting the World Cup in 2018, but I do like the fact that it's an international tournament with a trophy at the end of it, sort of competitive with some great team. Like, I'm actually excited to see Portugal, Mexico in the same group, in Group A with New Zealand and Russia. I think it's going to be interesting to see Mexico, a young up-and-coming international team that it's closer to us, so we kind of have a interest in it. So I do like Mexico's chance in those type of tournaments. So that's where I like it, where you see international team, maybe it's not always the same winning that tournament, and then that's what I like about, at least performing well.
Well, most American fans that are listening to this right now will remember, obviously, I think it was 2009 Confederation Cup, I believe, where they made the final against Spain. Did end up losing. They beat Spain in the tournament, ended up losing it in the final. Was it Spain or Brazil that they lost to? It was Brazil, I think, that they lost to in the end. But at any rate, they look back fondly on that one, and I even look fondly to the 2001 Confederation Cup, which is one of two major senior men's international tournaments that Canada has actually qualified for after winning the 2000 Gold Cup. So,
hey, there's a chance we might qualify for a Confederations Cup before a World Cup, right? So, who knows what's going to happen this summer? Well, we'll talk about this maybe in the next blog, unfortunately. But no, yeah, I do feel that that's why I like this tournament too, is maybe one day, once again, I'll see my country in this tournament.
Have to win a Gold Cup to do that, and now it's even more difficult because you have to win two Gold Cups, basically, or the Gold Cup and the what do they call it, the CONCACAF Cup, that tournament between the two winners.
Yeah, the home and away between Mexico and U.S. usually.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much what it will probably be. It's the only thing that makes this particular Gold Cup relevant this year is that it used to be, for those that don't remember, if you're really new to this, this particular Gold Cup upcoming used to literally be the most useless Gold Cup of all time because it would not give you anything other than the Gold Cup title, and no one sent their A squads. But now at least it gives you one half spot to the Confederation Cup where you have to play off with the winner of the other one. Although CONCACAF changes its mind all the time too, so who knows? They might just change their mind again. But nonetheless, no. Look, in terms of what I'm looking, go ahead.
By the time you get to the actual home and away playoff for the Confederations Cup ticket, the rules might have changed by then, so who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Like the Voyageurs Cup when they pulled the spot from TFC at the last minute, but nonetheless, alas, we'll see. We'll talk about that next week too, because that's coming up in 2 weeks. Or next week, isn't it? Yeah, next Wednesday is the Voyageurs Cup first leg.
21st in Montreal, then 27th in Toronto.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make it back to Montreal. That twice in 2 weeks is a lot, Kevin, but we'll see. If anyone wants to go fund me to Montreal, I'll be happy to take it. But other than that, I think I'll probably save my pennies next week and watch that one on TV. Back to the Confed Cup. In terms of, I wasn't excited about this until maybe yesterday. And now I walked past a bar called the Chapa Corner Cafe the other day, which is a Portuguese bar that I sometimes wander into because I amuses myself to be the only English speaker there. But at any rate, I walked past the Chapa Cafe with big signs all over it advertising Portugal v Mexico on Sunday. And I at that point went, yeah, you know what? I am looking forward to watching this. It's international football. There's a long stretch until we get the European game back till in August. So this will fill the void a little bit. It's not a World Cup. It's not even a Gold Cup in my mind, but it is something that is going to fill the days all next week. And as I said, we will give lots of sort of coverage. Do you have any, I'll continue on to that vein. The one thing I am most looking forward to is actually kind of beyond the results though, Kevin. I really want to see what Russia looks like.
Yeah, like the actual country and the cities. Yeah, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
No, but I do like, of course, in Group A. Well, let's talk about the tournament for a second. In Group A, I mentioned Russia, New Zealand, Portugal, Mexico. Weird seeding in the group too because of the host and all that. So you have Mexico seeded fourth, uh, Portugal, New Zealand. So that could be interesting matchup. And the tournament starts tomorrow. Russia, New Zealand, only one game. Then truly starts on Sunday. Portugal, Mexico in Group A. So that's interesting. Group B, Duane. Cameroon. Without Ambrosio Yongo got successfully operated on a few days ago in Barcelona after his injury. A teared
Out for the
rotula,
season too. Yeah.
out for the season. A teared rotula ligament. So they were saying between 4 and 7 months. Seems to be maybe closer to 4, but season seems to be over for the Montreal Impact player. But Cameroon, Chile, Australia, and Germany. Chile, very interesting to see them play this summer with the likes of Vidal and Sanchez and all that. Australia and Germany, Duane, the World Cup winner, best team in the world internationally right now. They're getting older. We'll see how they do in the Confederations Cup.
Exactly. And look, has there ever been a less inspiring game, like opening game of a tournament than Russia, New Zealand? Like, seriously.
No, yeah. Well, nobody cares about that game because they're not going to finish first and they're not going to finish second in that group. I would be surprised if Russia makes it out of the group in their own tournament.
Yeah, well, look, they played very poorly last year, and they don't look very good moving forward into the World Cup, Gold Cup. That's a bit of a slip there. Next year,
they would do pretty well in the Gold Cup, to be quite honest.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they can make the argument. We were talking on the drive back from Montreal how Canada really should just try and get into Oceania. So why don't we just let? We should let countries choose their confederation. That would be great.
That first USA Russia game that you can have maybe play. I don't know.
The Trump Derby.
Oh my God, it's kind of a game that I want to see now. USA Russia, make it happen in the World Cup in 2018.
It might. We got a draw coming up soon. I can't wait for the draw. The draws are wonderful because they're so ludicrous sometimes, the stuff that goes on around them. So I'm looking forward to the Russian draw. I'm sure that we'll have, I don't know, models jumping out of eggs or something. It'll be wonderful.
Instead of like balls that are like, the normal balls, it'll be like Russia dolls. So you open one, damn, there's another one. You open it, damn it, I have to open it again. Damn it, you have like 20 of them before you actually get to the actual coupon with the name on the ticket.
There you go. Yeah. To get back to the tournament for a second, though, look, the thing about the Confederations Cup is there's usually clear favorites, but they never quite work out. I would have to think that Germany v. Portugal might be what you're looking at as the final here. Maybe Mexico, I think, is a dark horse, though. I think the Mexicans, I believe, are very strong and might even contend to go deep into next year's World Cup. So I would watch out for them. Group A, as you said, with Russia and New Zealand in it, they seem to be a notch below. So you've got to think that Portugal and Mexico will advance out of that group. Group B is a little bit stronger, but Chile and Germany are likely your favorites there. I wouldn't sleep on the Cameroonians. And Australia, they'll be game, but I'm sure that they're probably the fourth in that group. But nonetheless, it'll be something to watch for the next few days. Wraps up. The 24th is the end of the group stage. The knockout stage goes to July 2nd. So something to keep us through. We've got the European U21s happening as well. And when this thing ends, we're only a quick little shot away to the Gold Cup. Speaking of the Gold Cup, the big question that we had yesterday was whether Kyle Larin should be involved in that tournament. The poll that I ran yesterday is now done. Largest poll I ever ran, almost 650 respondents to it. It was 55% saying no, he should not be involved in that Gold Cup, or yes, he should be suspended. More was how they actually answered. And 45 obviously said that they would like to see him in the Gold Cup. I wrote an article yesterday which suggests that maybe the ethical thing to do would be to not include him. Some things are more important than just sport results. Kevin, I don't know where you stand on this. If you want to give your quick opinion before we talk a little bit more about Kyle Larin's situation.
Oh, yes. My opinion was maybe different until this morning, until I have more details about what happened and actually saw videos and heard an audio that I think we should play it in a few minutes. It's about 2 minutes 40 long, and that's the one thing, though. We live in an open society, and for the public safety, Orlando police officers have dash cams in their car that are recording, and those recordings are made public on websites. And yeah, you have to search the data, but TMZ did search the data and find the videos of the arrest of Kyle Larin, and pretty compromising situation, which actually changed a bit of how I see the situation. it would go more to the latter of the two things I was talking about yesterday, Duane. It's either a one-off or it's a behavioral result. It's because of your lifestyle, and I think it goes to the latter. And I think the consequences has to be serious. And I think it's not time for him right now to wear the maple leaf this summer.
Yeah, well, I think it's time for him to make sure that he's healthy. And I don't want to assume that he's not, because we don't have enough evidence based on one.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't look good still.
Yeah, look, and the dash cam video was pretty bleak. He was, like I said, you could just tell by what he blew, how drunk he was. He was hammered, and that's not good. He's driving home from a club. Look, if in fact this is a situation, everyone's allowed to have a drink now and then if they choose to, but if you're an athlete, and I know people will argue that athletes shouldn't be role models, quote unquote, and maybe they shouldn't, but at the same time they are something that people look up to. They do have a job that puts them in the public light, and that does, unfortunately for them, hold them to a higher standard. And yes, you and I could go tonight. I don't have a car, and I wouldn't do this anyway, but if I go out tonight and get a DUI, I'm not going to be in TMZ. But he is, and he's got to know that, and he's got to realize that, and he's got to hold his behavior to a higher standard, and that's just the unfortunate reality, in my opinion, to this. So I don't think, and I wish the CSA would come out with a more definitive statement than they have. They responded to our inquiry by Kurt Larson to say that they would be monitoring the situation, but they didn't really say anything. I think it's imperative upon the CSA to come out and show some leadership here and actually say something, but nonetheless, they haven't yet. I do think that it's best for Kyle Larin, it's best for Canada, it's best for all of us that he gets his house in order and not worry about, the Gold Cup. So do you have that video ready to go? We might as well run it now, and then we'll come back, we'll wrap.
Yep, I have it. It's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. And again, it's from TMZ Sports, and it is available online from the Orlando Police Department as well. So it's a public domain. So here you go.
Hey, how you doing? Put the car in park. Yep. Turn it off. This guy came in front of me. This guy came in front of me over there. You're on the wrong side of the road. Oh. I didn't know that. I'm not from here. I'm from Canada. You're from Canada? Yeah. How much you had to drink tonight, sir? I didn't have anything. You didn't have anything? Do you see all the other cars on the other side? Where in Canada? Toronto. Toronto? Yeah. Okay. Do you have your driver's license, registration, insurance? Where y'all come from tonight? I'm driving her car tonight. That's not my question. Where are you coming from tonight? Club. Okay. You didn't have a single drop to alcohol? Okay. Do you mind stepping out and talking to me? Yeah. Do you have any guns, weapons, anything on you? No. No? Okay. Here's the issue. You're driving on the wrong way. Yeah. You're coming from a club. Yeah. I can smell the obvious odor of alcoholic beverage coming from the breath. Yeah. Okay. So you want to be honest with me? How much did you have to drink? I had 2 or 3 drinks. Okay. I was just trying to drive her home. That's all. I play for Orlando City. You're a soccer player? Yeah, soccer player. So I was just trying to drive her home, and that's all. When I asked you why you were driving on the wrong side of the road, you said you were not from here. 3 years in Florida, you know what side of the road is correct. Usually, I go to the exit east to go home, but I had to make it right. So if that exit's not open, I go right, and I thought it was a one way. So that's why. Okay, there's 4 lanes. There's also cars that you pass. Okay. That was my fault. I didn't know that. Go ahead and turn around. You're being placed under arrest for DUI. Yes, sir. Put your palms together. All right, put your palm together. It'll be easy. All right.
Can we wait, see what my manager says before we leave? Just before, I just want to see what she says.
Sure.
Please.
Thank you. You've been cooperative. I appreciate that. Okay.
No problem.
She's
talking right now. I just want to wait what my manager says. Can I make a call?
You'll be able to later.
Okay. Because we got cops that work for us, so that's why I was trying to make a call.
What's up?
We got cops that work for us from my team. I was trying to make a call before I got in here. So.
What do you mean they work on your team?
So they just work for us. So if we get pulled over, or whatever, I can call them and sort out the situation. That's why. That's why I want to call them.
You'll be able to make a call in a little while. Okay.
Okay.
And that wraps it up, Duane.
Yeah, that's pretty bleak.
Yeah.
All right, Kevin, I did do an interview yesterday that's a little more positive. So why don't we say goodbye, run that interview to end the show? It's about a trip that the technical director from the Ottawa Fury women's side is going to make to Nunavut to sort of spread the game, the women's game up there. It's a nice little story that I thought might be a positive way to spin away from this. Also, a little bit of news in that where she does mention that the Fury are under plans right now to launch a elite women's division or team, I should say, next year. She didn't say where. We can speculate based on sort of what makes sense. It'll probably be in the PLSQ or League One Ontario, depending on which direction they choose to go. So nonetheless, why don't we end with that? We'll say goodbye to the week. That's a positive story to end what's kind of been a crappy week in terms of the stories that we're talking about. We'll be back on Monday to talk about the Confederations Cup and hopefully better news all around. Kevin, why don't you set that up and say goodbye?
You can follow Duane on Twitter at 24th Minute and myself at Kev Laramee. Enjoy the Confederations Cup this weekend as well. Major League Soccer tomorrow. Montreal goes down to Orlando, and that will be an interesting game to follow. And after the interview, we'll all say goodbye. But for Duane and I, have a great soccer. You're listening to Soccer Today on SPN Radio. You can find the on-demand version of this very show on iTunes, Stitcher, Feedburner, Podbay Player, Podbean, anywhere you get your podcasts under the Sports Podcasting Network feed. Subscribe to our YouTube page to make sure you never miss a live show talking about soccer today, the MLS postgame show, open lines after dark, 5 rings daily during the Olympics. Make sure you subscribe and give us a follow on Twitter at SportsPodNet and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/Sports Podcasting Network.
All right, you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. So Audra Sherman?
Audra Sherman, yeah.
Audra Sherman, okay. And in 3, and welcome back to Soccer Today. Duane Rollins, joined by Audra Sherman, who is involved with the Ottawa Fury and is about to go on a very interesting and exciting trip. First off, thanks for joining me. And second off, could you just tell us a little bit more about what it is that you're about to do?
So I actually just got a call about 3-4 days ago from John Shabbat, who got my name from somebody that we work with within the community through our FIT program, asking if I would be interested to coach and go with Kadisha Buchanan and Ashley Lawrence up to Whale Cove, Nunavut, to run some clinics for their community, for their kids. And so I didn't hesitate. I right away was like, yes, that's definitely something I would love to be a part of.
No, for sure. And I mean, it's pretty exciting to go up north. Have you been up north before?
I've never. And I to be fair, I don't think I would have ever kind of put soccer and going up there together. To be honest, it never crossed my mind.
And well, precisely, and I guess that's sort of what caught my eye too, is that we think of all kinds of regions in the South as being involved in this game, but obviously this is sort of a different part of the country that not a lot of us have experienced. So is it correct for me to assume that maybe that was part of your excitement, just to see what the game was like up there and to try and sort of bring the game to another part of the country?
Yeah, that as well as just helping grow the game everywhere, right? And I think they've been playing for quite a bit of time now, but just seeing like how they go about their programs and just learning how soccer is being developed there is, yeah, definitely really exciting for me.
Yeah, well, and 2 players that played at a Champions League final, European Champions League final, not too long ago against one another, going up to the north. That's got to be exciting for those kids. How important is it to expose young girls in all parts of the country to those stars that they only usually see on TV?
That's massive. I think our women's game has evolved so much in the last few years, and these 2 women are a major part of the growth of the game, and we need role models. We need role models that are going outside of the comfort zone, going overseas, playing and having success at the international level, and representing our country. This is just going to grow the game at the grassroots level. And it's very important for young girls to have role models to look up to. So these two ladies are definitely the cream of the crop for sure.
Well, and as someone that's been involved in the women's game for a long time, the game for a long time, just describe sort of what you think it is right now. We've come a long way since London. Really, that's when I think it started in really impressive way to move forward. But do you feel that we're growing the game, that we're doing as much as we can on the women's side right now?
Well, I think there always could be more. I think there's a lot of hurdles that we still have to kind of get over and work together as a country to continue the momentum that from where we're going. Like, we've come so far, but there is still a lot that needs to be sorted out at every level. But there is success. I mean, the last game in Toronto, it was I think they won 6-0. Right? Yeah. So quality and style of play and creativity, and the young players that we have playing, it's showing that, yes, that we're going in the right direction for sure.
Tell me a little bit about what it is that you do with the Fury, and a little bit about the Fury's women's side of the game, what the programs look like right now.
So we're in a transition year. We're going to launch a new program in 2018. But this year, our biggest focus is on our community and engaging clubs in Ottawa and Kingston area, and even in Gatineau, to just bring out our pro guys, our coaches, and work with the community and see what we could do to assist on a technical side. And so through our Fanatics and Training Our Fit program, I kind of meet with the various clubs and they tell us, we need more resources. Can you help us with some training? And then we kind of arrange, is it team training? Is it goalkeeper training? Whatever a club requires or asks us to do, we work with them.
Fair enough. And in terms of the elite level for the Fury, do you envision that you'll have programs that will be competing at top, whatever the top level of the game is that you can, whether that be League One Ontario, PLSQ, or even higher? Is that sort of the long-term vision there?
Yeah, there's definitely a plan in place to have a elite program for 2018, and it will be a significant, I think will significantly help soccer in Canada, and especially Ontario. I think, and it's something that we really need. And I can't really say much about it yet, but sure. It is going to be an exciting announcement in 2018 from the club.
How would you describe the overall level of talent in the Ottawa Valley right now?
I mean, I think every time I go out and watch a U11 game or U12 girls game, I'm just amazed at what these girls are doing now, and their comfort on the ball and their engagement in the game and the investment that we're putting on the female side at such a young age. I'm really impressed every time I go out and watch them play.
All right. Well, we wish you good luck in that endeavor, and I hope you have a good time up in the north. And we're happy that you had time to give us a little time today, and thank you for that.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks very much. I'll let you go now. I do really appreciate it.
You were listening to SPN, the Sports Podcasting Network. Visit us, sportspodcastingnetwork.com.